This is the Franchise Basketball Insider, presented by Massengale Eye Care, Oklahoma City's leading eye care provider since 1989. Call 631-2020.
First, just want to thank everyone associated with the organization, our staff, a lot of people behind the scenes that work tremendously hard and give a lot of their time to the organization, to the team. Also want to make sure that we thank our fans, thank our corporate partners, and everybody that supports the Thunder on a day-to-day but yearly basis. And then want to thank everybody in the room for another year of working together and continuing to build our relationship, with our partners in the press and the media. Coming into the year, I really felt like there was a tremendous amount of energy and excitement around the team, around the organization, and I shared that with you when we got together in the preseason. Obviously, the year before had been a tough year. We had a bout of injuries, and it didn't end the way we would have liked. But I didn't feel like the organization or the players or the staff were deterred. I felt like when we arrived in October, there was a sense of purpose and a real sincerity to try to have a great season and embrace the season as it came to us. And, as I said before, the legacy for this organization is largely, an unwritten book. And this past season was certainly an incredible chapter to be associated with, whether you were a player, a staff member, or a fan of the Thunder in Oklahoma or really anywhere in the world for that matter. Through the year, and as has been the case in previous years, there are really three guiding principles that informed our work. First, embracing the fact that those of us with the Thunder are building the legacy of the organization in real time. Secondly, that at every level of the organization, we embrace a relentless pursuit of progress and improvement. And lastly, we're constantly striving to try to create the optimal conditions where our players, our staff, and our people in general can thrive and do tremendous work. I thought the season, in terms of the players, when they arrived, they really kind of committed to a process of discovery, knowing that there were a lot of new faces and new coaching staff. And I thought by the end of the year, the team itself had something to say, something to offer. And in a lot of ways, I thought it brought us to almost like a new gateway or a new era of Thunder basketball. Obviously, in terms of the season, we'd love to still be playing. We're disappointed we couldn't find a way to win the seventh game. But at the same time, I think our team really understands and respects just the battle of competition, and for sure we respect our opponents and tip our cap to Golden State. They were tremendous, and we wish them the best as they continue on in the finals. I think that if I could sum up something like with our team this year, I think there's a quote from Teddy Roosevelt from a speech he made in 1910 in France. Called the Citizen Republic, and in it he says that a great man is someone that spent itself on a worthy cause, and I thought that this team really did that. I thought this team really spent itself in a worthy cause. I thought it tried to be the best version of itself. I thought it was committed through the year. I thought it had sincerity to their efforts, and I thought at the end of the day they really respected the people they were playing against, which I thought was really important. I thought Billy did an excellent job through the year. He was intentional. He was curious. He was supremely disciplined. I thought, again, he embarked on a season of trying to build a team so that we could play various ways, that he could discover as much as he could about his own players, how they fit together, ways to put them in positions to be successful, and to get to know them as people. And I thought he did an excellent job of putting the tenets or the foundation in place for a system that could be transferable into the postseason. And what I mean by that is when we got to the postseason, a lot of the general principles and things we were looking to try to accomplish were able to transfer. In fact, some of the things actually got better as we entered into tougher competition. I thought the team showed a tremendous focus and cohesion, and I thought some of our best work was actually taking place when we were in the midst of losing 8 of 12 games after the All-Star break. Sometimes you're not going to get the outcomes you're looking for, but I really do think that during that period of time we were making big gains, and a lot of that was as a result of the focus and intention from October up to that point. You have to remember that this team was 7-6 at one time, and the coaches and the players didn't deviate from that process of discovery, evolution, and progress that we talked about, and I think they deserve a lot of credit for that. If you play close to 100 games in an NBA season, and if you do approach that number, that means you're having a heck of a year. You play 100 games, things are going to go wrong. Things are going to break down. There's going to be slippage. There's going to be situations you wish you could have back. There's going to be great enthusiasms, great devotions as well, but over 100 games, things aren't going to go exactly how you want them to go. And I thought that what this team did a really good job of doing was recognizing that there were going to be certain things that we could influence and we could control, but there are going to be others that we had to outlast and had to endure. And I think in being able to do that, we found a way to get better. And I thought the way that the team really got better as the year went along was it was connected, it was cohesive. And I thought that by the end of the season, there was a great compassion amongst the guys, amongst the players. They were really playing for one another, really understanding one another, and really sacrificing for each other so that we could get done what we wanted to get done, which is to be playing our best basketball at the end of the year. I think as we look ahead, we've taken the energy and the inspiration from the beginning of the season, we've transferred it into a strong progressive momentum for what looks like it could be a really dynamic, expressive, and exciting time for the organization, for the team, both on and off the floor. So we're really excited about the group of guys that we have in place, the strides that a lot of them made individually, but probably equally, if not more, excited about how the individuals fit together and how their progress individually actually came together as progress as a team. And, we're poised to be in a position to continue to be, first in the league in terms of continuity. We've been in that position since 2010. We finished the season with the 5th youngest rotation in the NBA since 2010, and we're also in a position where we feel like we can continue to add to our team without having to deplete it or gut it in order to make progress, which is an exciting place to be, in a salary cap system. So all those things have us excited, and as we've talked about since 2008, our goal has been to sustain success in Oklahoma City. And we've had to do that through several different cycles of the team, a lot of things that we've had to deal with and that have come our way. But we feel really good that we're on a platform right now to allow us to continue to do that, which is something we are all excited about and should all be proud of. So with that, I'd take any questions.
Part of that growth, obviously, is retaining Kevin Durant. Just what's your concern level a month out from the free agency?
Well, I think, again, concern, I think the way you got to look at that, Anthony, is when we signed Kevin to his extension 5 years ago, we knew that he'd be a free agent, at the end of that contract, and we've done, I think, a really good job of just focusing on the things that we can control. I also think Kevin deserves a tremendous amount of credit for the way he's handled his affairs, because what it really did was it allowed our team to focus on the season and really made the season that we had possible. And so I thought it was a tremendous example of a franchise player putting the franchise first. I thought it was also a tremendous example of leadership on his part. because we're not able to have that season unless he's handling his affairs the way that he did. And we'll, I think first thing is we've got to, give it some time after the season ends for a couple of reasons. One, to reflect and enjoy and appreciate the season that we just had, so that we're not just rushing on to the next thing. We can't make that decision come faster or slow it down. So we may as well enjoy the season we just had and allow him to do the same. And then, when it's time, we'll sit down and have that conversation with him, and at that point we'll know where we stand.
Do you have just one conversation with him, or because obviously other teams are going to pitch him on their franchises? So do you counter that? I mean, because the financials are pretty much what they are, what you can do, and what you most likely will do. So how do you handle that whole situation?
Well, again, I mean, not to. I think number one is not to make it too overly complex. We've had a relationship with Kevin in Oklahoma City for 8 years, 9 with this particular franchise, and we talk to him all the time. So I think when those conversations occur, it's really just a continuation of a dialogue that's been going on for 8 or 9 years. It's a chance to reflect and recognize that relationship, and continue the conversations that we've had ongoing.
What did you learn about this franchise this year when you look at all the off-the-court things that happened with your owner, with Monty's wife, with Deion's brother, and just what did you learn about this franchise through that?
I'd say less. I'd say less learning and probably more confirmation that we have a really special group of people. I think we're certainly a organization of high standards, but we're also an organization of compassion, and I think that really was surfaced through the things we had to encounter this year. And again, as I said before, there are certain things that come your way that are unforeseen and unexpected and unfortunate at different times. And we worked ourselves through those things the best we know how. But again, I think over time we've demonstrated that it's a special group of people here.
Sam, when you're making the trade before the deadline for Randy, he's a guy who hasn't played nearly as much point guard in the NBA as he has shooting guard. So how do you go about kind of making that decision on a whim when you kind of don't have enough time, like in the off season where you can talk to him, you can put him through a training camp to learn it? How do you go about that evaluation process on how he'll switch as seamlessly as you think he might?
That's a great question. I think, a couple things, like a guy like Randy Foye, you watch for a long time. You've seen him in a lot of different situations. He's been with several different organizations over a period of time. I think one of the real benefits to him that we saw was that he could fill 2 positions for us. And he's done that in the past. And then additionally, like, we have some players on our team that allow him to play different spots. So him and Deion are, it's different times, interchangeable. Cameron showed the ability to play off the ball. So, and not just one end of the floor. We also felt like Randy could play 2 positions defensively, which was helpful. So we're really glad that he came aboard. It's not easy, but when you have as many years of experience as he does, and you have the demeanor that he does, it certainly makes it, I would say, not so much possible, but probable that he's going to assimilate well.
Sam, a year ago you pulled the trigger on the coaching change, and it was a pretty good setup before, but clearly you were looking for something different. When did you know that the decision you made to go with Billy and his staff was the different that you were hoping it would be?
Well, I mean, as we talked about at the time, we were really looking for someone in Billy that we felt could continue the progress of the organization, stimulate the organization. I thought he did that effectively. I think the one thing about Billy that can't be underestimated is, he himself was handed some circumstances without Mo and without Monty for a good portion of the year, but he remained steadfast. I think he, as I pointed out earlier, we were 7-6 at one time, but he was unflinching in his approach to try to build the team in a fashion that, one, could grow through the season, two, could be cohesive, and three, if we were fortunate enough to get to the playoffs, we could continue to play and improve with the system that was in place. And again, this is only his first season, but I think he got a lot done in year one. And, again, it was the second best offensive rating in the NBA in the last 5 years or so. I think Golden State this year was the only team that had a better offensive rating. It was our second best net rating in franchise history, with the best being the year after we went to the finals. But this was our best net rating in the postseason. And I think, again, that speaks to the work that was done in October. So, I have a lot of confidence in him that when he gets hit with a plateau or a difficult situation, he's going to ask really good questions, and he's going to be really consistent in how he solves problems. He's always trying to make himself better as well. So I thought he had an excellent first year, but I think next year a lot of the firsts will be gone for him, and he'll be maybe even better.